So I'm Dr. Rita McGuire. I'm the Chief Medical Officer here at Wakanna. I'm also one of the co-founders, and the entire month of July, what we're talking about is the clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. And that long term just means that we talk about every single Wednesday why everyone needs CBD, okay? And so the very first Wednesday of the month, we talked about what the clinical endocannabinoid deficiency is. The second Wednesday, we talked about fibromyalgia. Last Wednesday, we talked about inflammatory or irritable bowel syndrome. And then tonight, we're going to talk about Parkinson's disease. There are 5 Wednesdays in the month of July. So we want to make sure that you invite all of your guests next Wednesday, because we're going to have on our webinar the physician that discovered the clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. So Dr. Ethan Russo will be on the line next Wednesday, so you don't want to miss that. So again, I am Dr. Rita McGuire. I want to welcome all of our business partners. I want to welcome all of our guests tonight. I am the pillar of health, so it's my duty for all of you to understand how amazing this cannabis plant is to our health and wellness. So first, let's talk about what is the endocannabinoid system. If you've been on the line every Wednesday with me, you understand that this is the most vital regulatory system in our body. It's a biological system. It regulates and modulates our cognitive responses, our memory, our mood, our appetite. It even controls fertility. It controls pre- and postnatal development. It controls pregnancy. It controls the balance in our body, or what we call homeostasis. Now, this system determines how our cells are affected by the compounds that the cannabis plant makes. So when we talk about the compounds or the chemicals that the cannabis plant makes, they're called cannabinoids. And these are chemicals that act on the receptors that are found throughout our entire body. Now, some of these cannabinoids are chemicals that the plant makes, like THC and CBD. THC being that psychoactive chemical, and then CBD being the non-psychoactive chemical. And thus far, there's about 120 cannabinoids that the plant can make. But then the body produces cannabinoids. Yes, our body produces the very same chemicals that the plant makes. They're called endocannabinoids. They are what our body produces naturally. So if any of you are on the line and you have a family member or a friend that you've been really trying to get to be open about trying CBD, and they say, I want nothing to do with cannabis, stop talking to me. Well, you can let them know that their body produces compounds exactly like the plant does. They're called endogenous cannabinoids. So anandamide and 2-AG are 2 of the more common cannabinoids that the body makes. So let's talk about anandamide. You know, anandamide is one of the essential omega-6 fatty acid neurotransmitters. And what that means is that it sends signals to the brain to make us feel happy, to make us feel blissful, to make us feel joyful. It is a Sanskrit word from Ananda that works very much like THC. So anandamide is very much like the plant chemical THC. In fact, anandamide is found in breast milk. So any of those friends who are adamantly opposed to cannabis, you can let them know if they were breastfed that they were exposed to anandamide during their early formative years, right? And then there's 2-AG. It's another abundant endocannabinoid that our body makes. And this particular endocannabinoid is responsible for appetite. It's responsible for our immune system functioning properly. It's responsible for pain management. It's responsible for circulatory systems like your blood pressure and your pulse rate. It's also important in suppressing seizures. And what's really interesting is that I found out in my research is that 2-AG is more abundant in breast milk than anandamide. So when we look at the endocannabinoid system, there are also receptors, and these receptors are hanging around in every organ and gland in our body, as you can see in this slide. And these receptors are looking to connect with our endogenous cannabinoids like anandamide and 2-AG, and they're also looking to connect with CBD and THC and the other compounds that the plant makes. So even if these receptors are deficient, and even if our endocannabinoids are deficient, then our body is out of balance. So we want all of these things to be working together. So in 2003, Dr. Ethan Russo, who's going to be with us next Wednesday, so you want to put it on your calendar not to miss next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, he discovered the clinical endocannabinoid deficiency. In fact, we both spoke this time last year in Portland, Oregon. We spoke at a cannabis conference. And what he found was that even in clinical conditions like depression, where we know there's a deficiency in a neurotransmitter called serotonin, when they looked at people who are depressed, when they looked at those who suffer from migraines, when they looked at those who suffer from fibromyalgia, Parkinson's, what they found, irritable bowel syndrome, was a deficiency in the endogenous cannabinoids like anandamide and 2-AG. And when they replaced and gave and supplemented folks that had this clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome with cannabinoids, there was a very, very positive response in several diseases. So what causes the clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome? Well, the theory is that our body just doesn't produce enough naturally occurring endocannabinoids. And it may be due to stress. It may be due to our diet. It may be due to environmental factors like toxins and pesticides, the air we're breathing, the water we're drinking, the food we're eating. And when these deficiencies occur, our body just cannot function properly. So it becomes out of balance. And so when we looked at so many people that have symptoms like anxiety, folks who struggle getting good rest, insomnia, anger management issues, depression, chronic pain, dementia-like symptoms, family history of cancer, conditions associated with inflammation throughout their body like arthritis, they link that these symptoms are symptoms of folks who have clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. So many of you on this webinar may have some of these symptoms, or you may know some folks who have some of these symptoms. So these are some of the many diseases that make up this clinical endocannabinoid deficiency. Some of them which we've already spoken about. We've had a lecture on migraines, fibromyalgia, idiopathic or inflammatory bowel disease, phantom limb, glaucoma, painful menstrual cramps, dysmenorrhea, hyperemesis gravidarum, which is severe nausea and vomiting in pregnancy, unexplained fetal wastage or recurrent miscarriages, PTSD, bipolar disease. These are just to name a few of these diseases. So what can we do to reverse the clinical endocannabinoid deficiency, or how can we improve our endocannabinoid system within our body? Well, there's certain foods that you can eat to enhance your endocannabinoid system. And that's chocolate, dark chocolate, essential fatty acids, hemp seed and hemp oil, flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, sardines, anchovies, and even eggs. And there's other things that you can do. You can stimulate your endocannabinoid system with exercise, biofeedback, certain counseling, yoga, prayer, carefulings, terpenes, mindfulness meditation, which we talk about a lot. And tonight we're going to talk about how CBD stimulates your endocannabinoid system. So let's get into Parkinson's. Well, what is Parkinson's disease? You may know someone with Parkinson's, or you may know someone who after this lecture, you realize has Parkinson's disease. So it is a neurodegenerative disease. It typically starts with hand tremors, which could be slight and very subtle. And the thought is that there is a lack of dopamine. And if you were on our 710 conference and heard the amazing Dr. Natasha Gettings and even heard some of my topic, we talked about neurotransmitters. And neurotransmitters are just chemicals that send messages to different parts of the body or the brain or the central nervous system. And in Parkinson's, there's a lack of dopamine. So it's a disorder of nerve cells in the part of the brain that produces dopamine. So in a healthy patient, they have plenty of dopamine that can send these signals to the brain and central nervous system. But in someone who has Parkinson's, you can see on the right, they have a lack of dopamine. So some of the causes that they think occur, it's not really known what causes Parkinson, but there's genetic factors. And then there's environmental triggers. You know, environmental triggers could be this pandemic, COVID-19, the virus. It could be pesticides. It can be pollutants. It can be different metals, your dietary factors. That's why I stress a healthy diet. And through the years, what happens is the constant bombardment of these chemical and environmental triggers and stressors that by the age of 70, we see an onset of Parkinson's disease, even though these insults have happened early in your teens, in your 20s, and even your 30s. So let's look at what dopamine is. Again, it's a neurotransmitter. It's responsible for the reward system in our brain. It's produced in the substantia nigra, the ventral tegmental area, and the hypothalamus. Remember that HPA system that Dr. Gettings talked about, the hypothalamus pituitary axis? Well, dopamine is produced in the brain, and it is important in movement. It's important in muscle control, and it's important for balance. It's also very important in the pleasure reward system. So that's why when you see folks who have Parkinson's, they have issues with balance, with motor control, or even walking, and stiffness. So the incidence of Parkinson's disease definitely increases with age. 4% of Parkinson's disease patients are diagnosed before the age of 50. Can you believe that? Before the age of 50. In fact, 10 million people worldwide are living with Parkinson's disease. Approximately 60,000 Americans are diagnosed with Parkinson's each and every year. So this is typically what a Parkinson's patient looks like. They have tremors. They typically have a flat affect or a mass face. They have a very stooped over posture. They have a lot of slowness in their movement. They typically shuffle, so they have very short steps. They have tremors not only in their hands, but in their legs, It's very difficult for them to swing their arms when they're walking, and they have a lot of trouble with balance. How do you diagnose Parkinson's? Well, typically neurologists will diagnose you, and it's really through a medical history, your signs and symptoms, and a physical exam. There's really no specific test that exists to diagnose Parkinson's. The treatment options, well, we give you something that promotes the dopamine in your brain. That medication is called levodopa. And unfortunately, levodopa has a lot of side effects. You know, the side effects include dizziness, lightheadedness, nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, trouble sleeping, unusual dreams. Levodopa can give you nightmares. There's also treatment given to Parkinson's patients, antidepressants. There's some cognition enhancing medication because they start to lose their memory. And then there's medications for the tremor. And then there's self-care. The final stages of Parkinson's is really, really sad. I don't know if you know anyone that in your family or friends or neighbors that has had the final stages of Parkinson's. They have severe posture issues in their back, neck, and hips. They're typically incontinence. They can't control their bowel or their bladder. They have severe insomnia, and then of course dementia. They're very like patients who have Alzheimer's disease. So it's a very, very sad, very, very debilitating, very, very painful disease entity. So we can never make claims that CBD can cure Parkinson's, okay? But what we can say, and we're going to show you data and research, is that CBD can assist with improving the quality of life in patients who have Parkinson's. So these statements and products have not been approved by the FDA. If you are nursing, pregnant, on medication, please consult your physician prior to taking these products. So our product line here at Wakanna is something we're going to talk about and move into now. We do have a power line. Our power line is a line that contains the legal limit of THC. That's the product line on the left, which is 0.3% or less. And then we have our pure line. That's our broad spectrum line. Those are the products on the right, and they are with the white label. So that's the product line. If someone may have early signs of Parkinson's, may be just a slight, very subtle hand tremor, right? So they may still be working. So if they have random drug screens at their job, then the pure product line is the product they should use. So let's talk very, very briefly about Wakanna. See, Wakanna is more than just a CBD company. We are a movement, and our vision is that we exist to help end the stigma, the negative stigma about the cannabis plant. When you say the word cannabis, or you may refer to CBD and explain to someone that it is a compound from the cannabis plant, folks don't want to talk to you. So our whole vision is to end the negative stigma, to educate our communities about this plant. Not only the health benefit, but the wealth benefit. Our mission. Now, our mission is that we are the catalyst to stir a movement that really helps people like you on this line tonight, to move into the legal space as entrepreneurs, formulators, investors, evoking the courage and strength of people to take back their health, wealth, legacy, and freedom. Well, I want you to meet the other co-founders of Wakanna. Our CEO, Melissa Boston, well, she is the visionary behind Wakanna. She brings over 29 years of direct sales experience, over 16 years of experience in corporate America. In fact, she fired her boss at the age of 32 and a half years old. She's built businesses in over 40 countries. She's trained over 50,000 distributors. She is a social media strategist She is the visionary behind Wakanna. And then our president, Dr. Patricia Van Pelt, is serving her third term as a state senator here in Illinois. She also is a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, an evangelist. And then our senior VP of sales, our chief sales officer, our fabulous Phyllis Nash. She also brings 30 years of experience, not only in the real estate industry, the liquor industry, but also the restaurant industry. And then myself, I'm the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Rita McGuire, bring to you over 30 years of experience in the field of OB-GYN, as well as all four of us are pioneers and experts. We've been in the cannabis space since 2017, so for the last 3 years. So let's look at the plant, because this is probably the most important slide if you are a guest on the line that truly needs to understand. Now the plant, cannabis, has, we said, over 100 plus compounds or cannabinoids, but the two most common ones are THC and CBD. And then the plant has two species. One species is the marijuana species. That's a species that gets you high, right? It has high levels of THC and trace amounts of CBD. And then there's the hemp species. That's the species we're going to talk about tonight. That's where our CBD is extracted from, the hemp species, which contains 0.3% or less of THC and large amounts of CBD. So hemp is the species that gives you the health without the high, okay? So we're gonna concentrate on the hemp species. So CBD stands for cannabidiol. We talked about CBD, unlike THC, gives you no high. That's really important to understand that CBD is non-psychoactive. It will not get you paranoid. It will not give you euphoria. It will give you the health benefits that we're going to talk about without the high. And what makes CBD legal in the United States? Well, the 2018 Farm Bill, which was passed in December of 2018, now allows hemp to be no longer a controlled substance. So yes, hemp was right up there with LSD and marijuana and heroin and all of the other controlled substance Schedule I drugs. Well, now it is federally legal to consume, grow, cultivate in all 50 states. So let's look at CBD. As you can see here, there are other cannabinoids that really are what we call a full spectrum product, where we see not only CBD, but CBG, CBC, Delta-9, THC. These are the main cannabinoids that are in our full spectrum product. But let's look at the medicinal benefits of CBD, because when you think about Parkinson's, you're going to want to see that these medicinal benefits can help to relieve and to help improve the quality of life of those that we love with Parkinson's. Well, CBD helps to relieve pain. When we talked about in Parkinson's, how they have a lot of severe pain in limbs, in neck, in hips, in knees. It also helps to relieve anxiety. There's a lot of anxiety that occurs in those who have Parkinson's disease. It's a lot of depression. Why? Because those neurotransmitters, one being dopamine, that's important in mood stabilization, is decreased. CBD also reduces inflammation. There's a lot of inflammation, not only in the brain around those nerve cells that have been damaged, but also in joints. Those folks who have Parkinson's disease, they have what we call Parkinson's psychosis. So CBD helps to relieve psychosis. It also helps to stimulate the appetite, reduce nausea, reduce seizures and convulsions. CBD prevents nervous system degeneration. So there are studies that show if you start CBD early enough before someone progresses to stage 5 of Parkinson's disease, where they have severe symptoms, It can help to regenerate those nerve fibers that have been damaged. It also helps to suppress muscle spasms. CBD has been shown to manage blood sugar, treat skin disorders, inhibit cancer cell growth, reduce the risk of arterial blockage, increase bone growth, and kill or slow bacterial growth. You may be asking, if you joined us late, well, how does CBD do all of that? It sounds like a snake oil, Dr. Rita. It sounds like a magical potion. Well, there's real science behind how CBD works in our body. And it works by modulating, regulating the endocannabinoid system, the system that has not only these receptors that are looking for cannabinoids like CBD and THC, but it's also made up of endogenous cannabinoids that our body produces. Where our body cannot produce these naturally occurring cannabinoids in disease entities like Parkinson's. That's why Parkinson's is part of the clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. So when we look at the research, there's a lot of research out there on CBD and Parkinson's. Believe me, I've gone through hundreds and hundreds of papers, but there's a lot of research that shows that CBD can help improve the quality of life of those that we love with Parkinson's. In fact, this recent study, just February 19th of 2020, shows how CBD has a great result in helping to ease symptoms of Parkinson's, one being the tremors. So it has anti-tremor mechanisms. And so what I have here for any of you that want more information, I've included studies that show how CBD helps to improve hand tremors. And what's really fascinating in these studies is that you don't need a lot of CBD. More is not better. So one of these studies looked at doses as low as 100 milligrams a day, all the way up to 600 milligrams a day. This study showing the improvement of quality of life in those who have Parkinson's, this study looked at using 300 milligrams a day. Another study that looked at sleep. Why is sleep a problem in those who have Parkinson's? Well, in Parkinson's, they have something called muscle atonia, where they have uncontrollable movement during the time that they should be in REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. So those with Parkinson's have a very disruptive sleep pattern. They wake up fatigued, they wake up irritated, they wake up very restless because of this muscle atonia. So even CBD has been shown to improve very complex sleep-related behaviors. Again, CBD and its benefits on the brain, there's studies that show CBD is an antipsychotic, so it helps with the Parkinson's psychosis. It's an antidepressant and anti-anxiety. It helps with depression and anxiety. It's an antioxidant, so it's helping to fight those free radicals that are damaging the nerves in the central nervous system that should be making this dopamine. And CBD is found to be neuroprotective. This is a neurodegenerative disease, meaning that the nerve cells in the brain have been damaged due to what? Well, we're thinking environmental triggers. We're thinking genetic predisposition, diet. All of these things are causing an effect on the cells in the brain that produce dopamine. Here's another great slide that shows that the receptors that CBD bind to in the brain help to release more dopamine and serotonin. Not only does that improve their mood, but it helps them sleep. It helps them think. It helps to motivate them. And it also helps to improve those motor skills that they are lacking. Psychosis, another study that shows that CBD was used in this study to help improve psychosis. Guess what? More is not better. These patients only received up to 150 milligrams of CBD on a daily dose. In this study, it shows that those who have Parkinson's psychosis, that if you give them any more than 150, well, it worsened their psychosis. So remember, more is not better. We always talk about start low and start slow, and the studies do approve that. So let's talk about some of the products that we are recommending to improve the quality of life, to improve the symptoms that those who suffer from Parkinson's have. We can never say that CBD can cure, mitigate Parkinson's, but what we can say is that CBD in those studies that I just showed you help to improve the quality of life, help to improve the symptoms that Parkinson's cause. So in 2018, the Farm Bill was passed, right? We all know that during those 2 years up until now, we see CBD everywhere, right? There's CBD at gas stations, there's CBD at smoke shops. I always think this is funny, but there's CBD being sold at video stores here in Chicago. I wouldn't trust those CBD products. But products here at Wakanna are products you can trust because our products are tested. We provide some of the most rich medicinal hemp that's fully compliant with the State Department of Agriculture regulations, meaning that our products that are grown have to be compliant with the state that they're grown in, organically grown hemp. Our products are also industrial hemp registered, and our products are Farm Bill compliant. What that means is that our products have to be sourced from hemp containing 0.3% or less of THC. We also provide certificates of analysis. Certificates of analysis are critical in this marketplace, right? This will show you the potency of the product, the fact that the product is free from mold, mildew, pesticides, and heavy metals, as well as the legal limit of THC, which should be 0.3% or less on any of our power products. So I'm going to talk about some of the products that I think would be great for those who may have early signs and symptoms of Parkinson's, as well as those who have that late final stage of Parkinson's, just to help improve their quality of life. Our first product is our Powered by Hempranium. It's 500 milligrams of CBD in a 15 ml bottle. It's a tincture. And what a tincture means is that it's an oil that you place under the tongue and you hold it under the tongue for 60 seconds before you swallow. That's to ensure that the oil is being absorbed in the bloodstream. Now, we have a proprietary formulation on this particular product. We've enhanced our CBD with black seed, turmeric, and peppermint. That also helps to increase the anti-inflammatory, the analgesic properties, the antioxidative properties of CBD. I always like to start low and start slow. So 3 drops twice a day under the tongue will give you 10 milligrams of CBD on a daily dose. It's a great, great, great starting dose. You can go as high as 15 drops twice a day for maximum dosing. Now, our Power Water Soluble product is a great product for those who may have Parkinson's and may have dementia. They may be closer to that final stage of Parkinson's disease where their cognition or their memory is not so good. They may not be able to hold the oil underneath their tongue for 60 seconds before they swallow. So the Power Water Soluble is a great way to put that CBD drops in their water, their beverages, their food, their smoothies, whatever they're eating or drinking. This is a great way to get that in their system. Again, start low and start slow. And then we talk about the joint, limb stiffness. Our topical products is a great product to help relieve the symptoms due to Parkinson's. Our Power Relief Topical Cream is 200 milligrams in a 30 ml jar. This is a cream that has a proprietary formula, which we've enhanced with 8 USDA certified essential oils that help to relieve symptoms due to Parkinson's. Those symptoms, again, joint stiffness, neck, knee, hip stiffness, and discomfort. Topical products offer local relief. Again, topical products can be used in our power formulation, even in those who have random drug screens, because topical products do not pass the blood-brain barrier. They will not affect your drug screen. And then our gummies. Our gummies are a great product for those who may be suffering from those symptoms that Parkinson's cause, the insomnia that we talk about. 25 milligrams of CBD are found in each one of these gummies. Again, it's good to start with half of a gummy. One gummy may be too much. Start low and start slow. It takes about 30 to 90 minutes for a gummy to kick into the bloodstream. So you want to make sure that you give that person that gummy at least 30 minutes before it's time to go to sleep. This comes in a 20-count bottle as well as a 4-count package. And then we have power products that we can also use in the kitchen. So you can spice up their food with our garlic fire, flavor king, or chili lime. All of these products are infused with CBD. We've already talked about the Power Water Soluble, but let's talk about our Culinary Plus. This is a product that can be used as a tincture, or you can use it to bake and cook products or food with for those who have Parkinson's. Again, addressing the symptoms that are caused by Parkinson's. And then our Culinary CBD oil infused with our grapeseed oil, another product that's good to marinate, to use in salad dressings, etc. Let's talk about our broad spectrum products, our pure products. Our pure products are products that can be used for those who have random drug screens at their job. Again, it could be a patient or a person, a loved one, a client that has early Parkinson's. They've just been diagnosed. They may have a little hand tremor, but outside of that, they're doing pretty good. And they're looking for a holistic way of addressing these symptoms. Our Pure Powered by Impranium, again, is a 300 milligram tincture. You place under the tongue, you hold it for 60 seconds before you swallow. Start low, start slow. This is a formulation that's enhanced with black seed, turmeric, and peppermint. And it also has a special delivery system called nanotechnology that allows for this particular product to be more bioavailable. So it's more available to the cells quicker, and it is a bioavailability of 98.7%. So it's just a delivery system that enhances the CBD molecule. These also, our gummies come in our broad spectrum. The new broad spectrum gummies are 25 milligrams of CBD. So I do have to, excuse me, I really have to update this slide. The broad gummies, broad spectrum, are 25 milligrams of CBD. And we also have what we call a 5-count package, which will give you 100 milligrams in total at 25 milligrams of CBD on a daily dose. Now, start low, start slow, start with half a gummy. Your question, how much CBD should a person with Parkinson's take? Well, this study shows that you should start with a small baseline dosage. 2 to 5 milligrams twice a day or 3 times a day. So start with between 6 and 10 milligrams total. You may ask, well, how do I figure out what's 10 milligrams? Well, each drop, one little drop of our power products are 1.67 milligrams. So we've already done the math for you. If you start low and you start slow, if you start with 3 drops in the morning and 3 drops in the evening, guess what? That gives you 10 milligrams total of CBD. And what we want you to do is really maintain that dose. And then maybe after 4 to 7 days, if you feel that those symptoms that you're trying to address have not been addressed adequately, then you increase that dose. But starting low, starting slow has been proven in this study to be effective when you're talking about symptoms that those who have Parkinson's have. So it's a variety of ways that you can purchase our products here at Wakanna. We have packs, which are a great way to have a savings versus buying our products a la carte. So we have something called a customer variety pack. We have a customer pure pack. We have some special packages where we have announced during our 7/10 conference on July 10th. So we've got a power essential. We have a variety essential. You can see the savings, over $100 in savings when you purchase our products in bundles. We even have a 7/10 pure essential pack. So hopefully you've got a better understanding about Parkinson's disease. Hopefully you have a better understanding on how cannabinoids that become deficient in our body then becomes a real issue. The clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome is a real medical syndrome that was discovered by Dr. Ethan Russo in 2003. And you don't want to miss next Wednesday because he will be on our call. So what can we do? How can we help those who have symptoms due to Parkinson's, be it early signs, like maybe a very subtle hand tremor, all the way to final stage signs? Well, offering our amazing products here at Wakanna, making sure that our loved ones are on a healthy diet, making sure that we keep them moving. If they're able to get moving, have them move, be it in a swimming pool, or maybe it is on a bicycle, or maybe it's just walking, or maybe it's engaging them in a yoga class, or a class that works with very, very minimum to low weights. Whatever it is, data has shown when you combine CBD along with diet and exercise, it truly, truly can improve the quality of life of those that we love that have Parkinson's. So I'm going to take questions now, but I want to remind you that if you want more information on our business, please tune in tomorrow night with Minister Mooney at 8 p.m. for a cannabis industry overview. Also, I'm going to take questions. You can put those questions right in that chat box or that Q&A box, and I can take those questions now. You want to make sure that whoever invited you on this call, you want to contact them. You want to contact them and let them know that you're interested in starting our products. You may say, you know, Dr. Rita, I don't have Parkinson's. I don't even know anyone that has Parkinson's. But what I do know is that I want to prevent myself from having Parkinson's in my later age, because we talked about the incidence of Parkinson's increases as we age. And let's look and be honest with ourselves. When we look at all of the years of the environmental triggers that we've been exposed to, we want to protect those nerve cells in our brain. We want to protect our body from the degenerative diseases that we see, like Parkinson's, like Alzheimer's, like dementia. We want that preventative measure. So everybody needs CBD because everyone has an endocannabinoid system that has been affected negatively throughout our life. So let me take some questions. Great information, great information, great information, great information. And I'm sorry to hear that, Fran. Fran Boyd said her mother passed away from Parkinson's. Any questions? Yes, prevention is the key. That's why Dr. Rita works out every single day. That's why Dr. Rita eats healthy as I can every day. I'm very, very aware of what I'm putting in my body. Because we want to prevent these things from happening. Any questions at all, please put them in the chat box. Please share any testimonies. There's nothing in the Q&A. Great information, great information, great webinar. And there were over 80 folks on our webinar tonight. So I want to thank each and every one of you guests, our business partners. Thank you for filling this lineup. But I'm telling you, next Wednesday, Dr. Ethan Russo will be on our webinar. You want to get all of your guests to hear from the person who discovered the clinical endocannabinoid syndrome. What foods can we, and then it's cut off. You may want to put that full sentence. Are the power products stronger or more effective than the pure products? Well, the potency of the power products are a little more than the pure. The power products are 500 milligrams. We do have a Hempranium MD, which is 750 milligrams. The pure product is 300 milligrams in the 15 ml bottle. But what makes the pure products just as effective as the power is the nanotechnology that we use in the delivery system. So the nanotechnology allows the CBD molecule to be more water soluble, so it makes it more available to the cell. So it's very effective in getting into the cells because of that additional mechanism of nanotechnology. So we're seeing just as good results in both products. But again, if you have random drug screens at your job, you want to use our broad spectrum pure product. My friend shakes. I gave her water soluble in some cherry juice. She stopped immediately. I hope she's on the line. I pray she's on the line as well, Cherie Eppinger. Yes, there are studies, and I shared with you, and there'll be a recording. They've done research. There's data that backs it up, where CBD has anti-tremor properties, and we see those who have those shakes, be it in their hands or their feet, have gotten results from CBD. Are doctors starting to complement the Parkinson's treatment with CBD? Yes. Doctors who are knowledgeable with CBD have. Those who are not up to date on how CBD works don't complement their regimen with CBD. So that's why it's imperative that each and every one of you be advocates and really be ambassadors. That's the word. Be ambassadors and share this information with your physicians. You can share this recording with your physicians. A lot of you out there have very good rapport with your physicians. You might have been with your physicians for years and years and years, and you want to share this information with them. Andre Moore, I just got my package today. The gummies and the hemp-powered hair is powerful. Glory be to God. Amen, amen, amen. Yes, be very careful with those power gummies. More is not better. You just need a half a gummy or maybe one. Honestly, you can always increase, but you don't want to start out with too much initially. Getting my aunt, my great-grandmother and grandmother, great-grandmother and grandmother on board. Very good. We want to make sure that we make all of our family members aware on how CBD can not only be a preventive measure, but absolutely addresses the symptoms as it relates to Parkinson's. Now, I did a whole webinar on multiple sclerosis. So the person who's asking about MS, we will make sure that we share that with you. There's a whole YouTube of all of my videos. Thanks to Dr. Ross. You can ask your sponsor, whoever sponsored you in the business, or if you're a guest, you can ask them for all of my recordings. We want to share that with you. Well, if there's no other questions, oh, let me look at my Q&A. Is there a video on this presentation? Yes. We record all of my webinars, and so we'll have that recording for you shortly. We want to invite you to join our Facebook page, Wakanna for Life. Whoever invited you can add you to our group to keep you engaged, to keep you updated on all of the laws, all of the information that you want to know about CBD. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining. Thank you for staying with me until the top of the next hour, which is 9 p.m. Remember to contact the person that invited you on this call to get your questions answered, to get your products ordered. We're going to make sure that you get that YouTube playlist of all of my webinars. Have a great rest of your evening.